Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Before I get started today, I just want to mention to anybody watching who also follows me on Instagram, or who I also follow on Instagram, I'm absent at the moment because my account has been disabled. So it's currently the 22nd of April. I'll probably get this video out tomorrow, the 23rd of April. So if you're watching around the time that this video goes out and you wonder why I've suddenly disappeared or stopped following you on Instagram, it's because my account's been disabled. Unfortunately with Instagram it seems that you don't get to know why, you don't get to know what's happened. They just disable you. There's no notification, nothing, you just can't get in. So first thing I noticed yesterday was when I tried to go in, it just seemed to be flickering. Tom reckons that's probably because the app doesn't know what to do. It thinks it's logged in but you're not allowed in. It just flickered, and I thought it was a sort of glitch and lots of other people will be getting the same problem, but no, it's only me, and it's because I've been suspended and I don't know why. So of course the worry is always that you've been hacked or something, or that you've inadvertently, I was racking my brains trying to think of what I could have said or done that might have offended somebody, or you know, how I'd somehow broken the terms or something, and I can't think that there's anything I've done. Apparently it's possible for someone to maliciously report you as having been hacked, or as pretended to be someone you're not, or whatever, so they disable your account, and it seems that the onus is then on me to get hold of them and try and prove who I am. So I had to go through a whole palaver. I had to fill in an online form and give them my mobile, and they sent a code to my mobile, and I put that in. Then I got another code. I had to write it on a bit of paper with my username and the number. Then I had to take a selfie, which I don't know how to do. And I had to take a selfie with showing my face, this bit of paper with the code and the name written on it, showing my hand holding the paper and my face and all of the paper, and then try and get the phone far enough away and be able to click the button, which by this stage I couldn't see because I can't see that far away. Ooh. So I did all that and submitted it, and now all I can do is wait. Apparently if they can't identify me, my account will be permanently deleted after, I think it was 30 days. So, and I have to say, if that's the case, I don't know if I can be bothered starting up again. I don't know if I'll bother with Instagram if that happens. Since then, my friend Claire, hello Claire, find her on Instagram, Claire96Bell. She's doing some lovely artwork. Anyway, so we follow each other on Instagram, and she wondered why I suddenly disappeared, and she got hold of me and said, oh, did you do you know what's going on? And I think someone, who else got hold of me? Was it Jackie as well? Just to say, where have you gone? What's happening? And then I thought, oh, that's when I thought, oh, it's not nationwide, it's me. Something's happened. So I had a bit of a panic, and Tom helped me, and I'm just sitting tight and waiting now. But Claire let me know this morning that apparently someone else, this is why I'm mentioning it now, all this ramble, someone else is now using the Instagram username Arty Annie. Now I don't know, I don't think that's the same as hacking. It seems a bit of a coincidence that it's a brand new account that only got started up yesterday, just after my account had got disabled, and used the same name. I don't know if that's the same as hacking though, because I don't think they're pretending to be me as such. Maybe they just wanted to use that name. I don't know. If anyone's got any ideas, I'm at a bit of a loss, to be honest, and trying not to feel too upset about it, because obviously I've taken quite a long time building up. I don't know how many followers I had on there or how many people I was following, but the thought of trying to find all those people again. So if you're wondering why I'm not looking at, I can't even get in to look at other people's stuff, let alone post anything. I can't get in at all. I have to go to the Instagram website to try and communicate with them. If I've not heard anything by Monday, I'm going to report myself as hacked and see what that does. But if anybody's got any other advice, I'd very much appreciate it. Meanwhile, if you get anything on Instagram that looks a bit odd and seems to be from me, please let me know. if you're in the Discord, let me know via Discord or in the Facebook group, or comment on here. I look at my comments pretty much, well, most days. It's very unusual, I don't look. So please try and get hold of me and let me know if you see anything you think I might want to know about. So enough about that. I'm going to try and forget about it and do something fun now. So hopefully here I'm going to put in a picture of some beautiful things I'm about to make. Here. The idea was that I wanted to come up with something, another no-sew way of using fabric scraps and things. So hopefully you have just seen some pictures of some gorgeous bracelets that I've made with some scraps and some recycled items. Let me show you what I've got in mind. So what I wanted to come up with was, look at this mess. I've got less than a square foot to work in. I wanted to come up with a way of using these lovely scrap bags that we get from Bazaar, or some of us get from Bazaar. Also, any other kind of scraps and things that you've got, don't feel like you've got to go and get scrap packs from Bazaar. But I know some people have said they don't sew, they love the scraps but they don't sew, so I was trying to think of some ways you could use them and enjoy them without necessarily having to sew. And I don't always want to sew, you know, sometimes I want to just do something quick, or you know, or I want, you know, something that I can perhaps do with the kids, or anyway. So got some stuff together. I've got a couple of 2 or 3 what I think are really good ideas in my head. I'm going to try them out now and we'll see how we go. And you'll know from the photograph that you've just seen whether or not I was successful. So I have got, here are some, these are some of the kind of bits of trims that you sometimes get in the, well, you always get a few trims in the Bazaar scrap packs. I will link to the Bazaar scrap packs. I will link to the Bazaar website. If you order from them, do remember to put Arty Farty, I'll put it here, Arty Farty Annie Treat in the note to seller at the end when you're checking out, and then you'll get a little extra doodad with your order. So the scrap packs are all kind of reclaimed fabrics, reclaimed from garments, fabric that would have been wasted that Joe rescues from the tailor shop floor or whatever. So you'll get all kinds of trims in amongst them as well. A lot of those I've got downstairs that I'm making my scrappy string quilt with, but I retrieved a few. I also got these recycled sari silk, they call it ribbon, sari silk ribbon, yeah, sari silk ribbon, which I got from Bazaar also. And I also got some of these, you buy them by the skein, I think they're called recycled fibre yarn or something, and it's all silk again. Obviously if you're vegan watching this, you won't want to use this because it is silk. But I loved them. I bought a couple of skeins, so I've got that one, most of that one left. I think these are what, I think I bought a set of 3 or something, and these are what are, maybe they come in 2s, and I'd used most of that one. I can't remember now. And then the other day when I got a package from Bazaar, one of my freebies was a little recycled silk, and I think a couple of other people have had these as their freebies, so I thought, okay, we'll see what we can do with these as well without necessarily sewing. So I've got a few of them to use. Look at this one. So this one seems to be all kind of threads. Some of them you can see bits of, I don't know, you can almost see bits of fabric in there. I don't know, they must just gather up all the scraps and spin them like you'd spin any fibres. There you can kind of see bits of actual fabric in there, can't you? And I will use these as well as for this project. I'm planning to use them when I get my weaving loom out finally. But this one seems to be all threads. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. And it will be lovely in my weaving, but I also thought it would be great to make some of these bracelets. So so I'm going to call these no-sew bangles. Next time I'm going to do slow-sew dangles. I've also got a couple of things I'm going to try as bases for my for my bangles. So I thought this squash bottle would be perfect because the sections here are actually kind of marked out for me, so I'm hoping I can cut them out and just use them as a base to wrap around. And then when I was in my local charity shop the other day, I picked up these. There are 5 of them. They're quite, yeah, they're quite cute as they are, but a bit plain and boring. Just little metal bangles. And they were £1. They were in a box of 5 for £1. So I grabbed those. You could also, I've seen people do a similar idea as this using cable ties. Just wrap a cable tie around to the right size for your wrist, put a bit of tape around it to hold it, and use that as your base, or perhaps a bit of wire with the ends twisted together. You're going to be covering it anyway, so you just need something that will give you a base. But seeing as those were only £1 and this was in the recycling bin, I thought, right, I'm going to try them. So I've got these were where I was putting the troll kits together, and I was cutting up an old skirt to rescue the chambray to put the kits together, and I was cutting pieces of leather square, so I ended up with these offcuts. So I've also retrieved those. So we've got this black, it's not real leather, it's faux leather, a couple of tiny strips of the animal print. So I want to try all sorts of things here, and I love when you get these bits of denim like this with this isn't denim, this is chambray, but denim look, and where you get the seam. I'd probably even use that inside out because I like the look of the stitching. There's a couple of the really tiny scraps ended up in there, and I've got some of my lace scraps, so some of them are like old vintage bits that I've cut up like that for slow stitching projects, and then these are a couple of just short lengths of lace that I thought would look nice with the denim. In the Bazaar scrap packs, amongst the doodads that you get, you often get strings of beads like this. That's where these have come from. Oh, and there were some bells in my last one, and I realised I hadn't got that. I need to look for them. This is my bag where I keep these are all Bazaar doodads in here pretty much. Yeah, this is where I keep them all. I hoard them, and it's time I found a way to use them. So next time with the dangles, I'm going to have to tip all of this out to find what I want. Here it is. I knew I had a bundle of bells somewhere. So that came as one of my little freebies where I put in the Arty Farty Annie treat. So I think those might work on my bangles as well. There's another string of beads there. I want to keep some of the beads for my dangles though. I think I've probably got enough to be going on with. Oh, what's that? Shisha mirrors, big shisha mirrors. Funny little bits and bobs like that. I'm hoping I can use up. This one has got some gorgeous, gorgeous buttons, which would make a nice feature on a bracelet, I suppose. Or I might keep them. See, I'm hoarding things for special, but I must use them. But all of I will need buttons either way. I need shank buttons and normal buttons. These also all came from Bazaar, and these, you can see, you get quite a mixture of things. And then these came in that lovely parcel I got from Zoe the other day, and I thought at the time, oh, those, especially these colours, are so going to work with all my Bazaar fabrics for this point. And I might try and keep some for the danglers as well. These also, and now did that come in the Zoe pack or did that come in a Bazaar pack? I'm not sure, but obviously shisha mirrors, and I could do some shisha work in these bracelets, but I'm trying to make this video was going to be a no-sew. So maybe I'll keep that for the danglers. Now, although I said no-sew, we might still need a needle, possibly, for beads, but I'm hoping to use wire, so I won't even need to get a needle out for that. And these beautiful, colourful beads all came in that parcel from Zoe. So you can get these kind of things online, or look in your local Hobbycraft, or check your charity shops. It's amazing what you can find in there. So that's all the bits and pieces got handy to play with. I think these seed beads also came in the Zoe pack. I know those did. So seed beads might be handy as well if you got them, but not essential. Now I've got a few different kinds of wire that I might use. Make use of what you've got though. Don't feel like you've got to go out and buy loads of stuff. So I've got a selection of different things here to have a go with. These are left over. They were in a pack. I think I got them in the Works or something like that. They were really cheap. They just called it crafting wire. Very, very thin, very flexible. Not much. About the thickness of a button thread or something. Or the 12 weight kind of embroidery thread that I'm using. It's kind of, yeah, it's very thin. You could almost stitch with it. You could crochet with it, if you had a mind to. It's very, very thin, but it will hold its shape when you bend it. and it's thin enough to go through even the tiniest beads, I think. I did think, I've got some thread, had that one handy and I love the colour of it, so I did think thread would work as well, but obviously you'd need a needle then, because the wire, you can just poke through. The thread, you'd need a needle, and you'd need to find a needle that would go through the smallest size beads you're going to use, if you're going to use beads. I've also got some of this wire, which is a bit heavier. I think it's something like 28 gauge, this one. I haven't got the pack anymore, so I don't know. So I use 20 gauge a lot for doing things like making little loops to dangle things from and stuff like that. And it's not as heavy as that. The higher the number, the thinner the wire. So I think this is, I guess this is 28 gauge. Again, you can bend it easily with your fingers. It will hold a shape, but it will bend very easily, and it's not that strong, but yeah. So I've got that. I've also got, I don't know what I got this cord for, some kind of beading project. I happen to have that, but you know, just experiment with what you've got. Even, to be honest, even if you've got something like that, you could try. Or I've got this lovely old cord that came from Johnstad's shed. I love that cord. I'm starting to hoard it a bit now as the roll gets thinner. And then I happen to have these that I've had knocking around for years on, and use them for all sorts of little things on and off, and they're just crochet cottons in different colours. So yeah, make use of whatever you've got. I happen to have a lot of these kind of things as well, which I've got out because I thought I might use. Please don't feel like you've got to have everything that I'm showing you in order to do this project. I'm just showing you a huge assortment of stuff that I've got to play with. You can pick and choose depending on what you've got available, and I probably won't use anything like all of these. This is a little box of all kinds of buttons. Most of these have been rescued off of old clothes and things like that, or I had them for different projects. So I think these ones I had them for projects and I didn't use all of them, and I've kept them because they're all shank buttons. They're called shank buttons when you've got that kind of loop on the back, and they're really useful to use as a fastenings for bracelets. So that's why I've kept those, all different kinds, but all with that shank fastening. I've got 2 boxes of beads here. So these are from kind of broken jewellery. I've either bought it really cheaply because I've seen it knocking around it for 50p in a charity shop or something. I bought it really cheaply, broken it up and harvested the beads and any other bits and pieces that you know, that were there. Some of them are gorgeous. I love that. It's like a half sucked fruity polo. But it's really, I think that's really beautiful. And then there were some, you know, these are really pretty, aren't they? Some of these might come in from a danglers. They're a bit big for doing what I'm doing today. And then there are some like this, which I don't really like them, but thought, well, they might be handy for something. But they're just, you know, red plastic beads. And I think for the wrapping, the fabric wrapped beads project, I think these would be perfect, because I just don't think I'll use them for anything else, because I just think they look a bit tacky. So that's why those are there. And then in here I've got, some of these are broken up old necklaces, and some I've bought specially. I've just kind of amassed them over the years. That I remember was something that I broke up. I just thought these were gorgeous, and but I haven't found an excuse to use them yet. And some of them, these came in like a craft kit, and they're a bit, again, a little bit tacky. Not quite sure what to do with them, but obviously can't throw them away. I mean, sometimes you've got a whole load of beads like this. You can even use them just for filling something with, as a bit of ballast in the bottom or something. So I would never throw them away. Oh, there's some nice kind of glass, white glass ones in amongst there. So that's kind of what I've got knocking around to play with. Look at that, beautiful. What's that doing in there? Put them to one side for a minute, and I'm going to try something really simple first, just to get me started. Okay, I'm just cutting in somewhere in that sunken in groove. Right, I think that's enough for a minute. By the way, if you're ever looking for, if you need a funnel for something, this works really, really well as a funnel. I've done that before. Obviously you need to take the top off. No. Now my problem now, of course, is going to be choosing which thing to use. Paralysed with choice. Okay, so I've got my 3 rings to start with, and I've also got my bangles. So I think that's enough to be going on with. What shall we try first? Oh, the other thing I didn't show you is, so these are some of the fabrics that I got in more recent Bazaar packs. That would make a beautiful base for a bracelet. I think I probably will end up going for that. Should we try it? Should we try it? So I'm going to start off just cutting quite narrow strips. Just cut a little snip and then I'm tearing like that. I love that ombre effect, it's beautiful. I'm going to use, I've got a couple of different kinds of glue. I'm going to see which works best. I feel like maybe this will be the best for this job. And I might save the wider ones for using when I've got more of a pattern in the fabric, so that it shows the pattern. I might end up wanting to trim off this little hem bit, I don't know. Totally making this up as I go along. I could twist this first if I wanted to, but let's see what happens if I don't. Let's if you are happy stitching, you could just stitch and, you know, to fasten these instead of glue, but I'm going to try and stick with just glue today. So I'm going to wrap that round in a bit of a ramshackle fashion like that, just to give myself a starting point. Just put a tiny little bit of glue there. And I shouldn't have to glue all the way along. If I wrap it tightly, it should just hold itself. So let's, while that dries, let's put a little peg there. These pegs are coming in really handy, Claire, if you're watching. Use them for all sorts. I've got lots of these little tiny wooden pegs, and they're great. I use them a lot as well, but they tend to, if you've got to be quite careful, they tend to sort of twist apart because they're so tiny. This is a bit chunkier and more useful, really. So making that such a simple thing can come in so handy. So with this, I'm just going to wrap around to start with. Now, if I wanted to, I could be threading beads and things onto here as I go as well. But I'm going to try and start simple. There are so many. I've looked at a few different YouTube videos. Don't just watch this one, but if you put in fabric bangles or something like that, you'll find all sorts of different ways of doing this. So at the moment I'm just creating quite a thin, neat fabric wrapped cotton, and you can see it doesn't matter that the edges aren't hemmed or anything. You just no way, it's not gonna, you might get the odd little hairy bit sticking out like that, but I'm quite happy with that. So I think this kind of ombre looking fabric is going to look really pretty. So in terms of how much you need, so this is about what, ½ metre probably. That's probably, yeah, it's probably about ½ metre long. So a metre long strip is probably going to go around this bracelet, but it would depend on the thickness of the fabric and how you wrap it, you know. So, and you wouldn't have to have it all in one length like this. You could just join in new pieces. So if I wanted to join in another piece, I'd probably join it in here, wrap it round a couple. We'll try that in a minute. I'll come to the end in a minute and we'll try it. Might end up splitting this video up into 2 or 3 shorter ones, I don't know. This is almost going to go the whole way round actually. Let's say I wanted to add in another strip here. I'm going to cut that little hem off this time, so I think that might make it harder to, in fact I'm going to cut it off that beginning bit as well. Now we'll see if it has stuck or not. It kind of has actually. I think I'll be able to stick it more successfully if I just take that hem off. Yeah, look, it has actually stuck. What I'll do is trim that there. That can go, that's for the orts jar pile. My orts jar is now stuffed full, but in the next project, the slow sew dangles, I will be using some of these tiny snippets as stuffing. So, okay, so say I want to join in this other piece now. I'm going to go with the pink end again and bring the ombre back around again. So I'm going to join the new piece in there like that, and I'm going to keep wrapping this piece around so it traps the new piece as it goes. So let's give this glue another go with the, oops, didn't need that much. I'll go for that one and that one. And the glue dries clear, so I'm not going to worry if it looks a bit messy at this stage. So that end of the new piece is hidden under here now. Glue this end down and keep wrapping. Oh, this is taking my mind off the whole Instagram fiasco. So I'm just going to wrap until it goes back into the purple again. So this, I think, is giving me a nice base. So I have so many choices here now. I could work in this, which kind of coordinates nicely with it, and thread some other beads onto it, or just put the thread round in a decorative kind of way. So this is where I could either use the wire. I've got these wires are all coloured as well, so I could pick a coordinating colour, or you know, one like this teal blue would look quite pretty against it as well. Oh, choices, choices. And then I've got the thicker wire, but I don't think I want the thicker wire on these really thin bangles. So even just a stack of them covered like that, just covered in the fabric like that, is automatically more interesting than just, you know, a stack of these. But let's not stop there. I love how that ombre's round. These are lovely little beads, Zoe. Gorgeous. Glass, plastic, I don't know, they look really pretty. Resin maybe. So I could just have 5 of that. I could forget about that one. Oh, that goes almost too well. And have 5 of those dotted around. I mean, so at this point I could use my crochet thread. I'd have to find a needle that would go through the hole in the beads I'm going to use, and I'd probably have a problem getting it through these little seed beads, so I'm going to go through for the wire. Oh, that's a perfect, I'm going for that. Right. So I don't know how much of this I'm going to want, but seeing as that wire, that fabric wrapped all the way around, it was about 1/2 metre long, I reckon that's going to be, I'm going to take off about 1/2 metre of this and see how I go. I can always join a bit more in. If I put too much, it's just going to get annoying anyway. So I've got a few of my seed beads in there ready, and I've got these beads as well. So I'm going to wrap this wire around to start with. And this wire, you ought to be able to get this in Hobbycraft, somewhere like, you even see it in the pound shop, or a Dollar Tree or whatever. You can certainly get hold of it online. It's just a really thin wire. Let's just do a couple of wraps to start me off, and I'll come back and overlap that later. Right. And now I'm going to thread on just a few of these seed beads. I'm going to go odd numbers. I'm going to thread on 7. 7. Yeah, see, if you made the wire too much longer than this, it would get really awkward. So now I want, obviously, most of the interest to be on the outside, I guess. So I think what I'll do is pull these beads up like that until I get to the outside, and then I'll, there we go, and then I'll wrap the wire around like that. Is that making sense? 7 seems to be pretty good. It depends on what angle you wrap it at. So let's do that, and then just I'll do an extra wrap to anchor it. And then let's try one of these fancy beads, focal beads, I guess you would call them. Let's do a blue, a bit of contrast. And the nice thing about using the wire is that you can just poke it straight, so you don't need a needle or anything. Let's see how this looks. It might end up looking too big on this, I'm not sure. Oh no, that's quite cute. Wiggle it until it's where I want it to be. Hold that together with my finger and thumb, and now I'm going to wrap it around a couple of times to anchor it again. So I think I'm just going to keep doing that over and over again all the way around. But I'm going to stop filming now because otherwise this video will get ridiculously long. I'm just going to repeat this all the way around. Right, so I've gone all the way around now, come back to the beginning, sort of space them evenly along, and I've just, unfortunately, I had to join another tiny bit of wire in. I got to the end of the wire just a little bit too soon, so I would say give yourself a generous ½ metre of wire, and then you might be able to do it all in one piece. And I'm just winding back and forth now to sort of secure that wire. It should hold itself there. You could put a little dab of strong glue there to be sure, I guess. I might do that, but yeah, I'm really happy with that. It's my very first attempt. I think that's quite pretty. And the thing about these kind of bracelets is you wear them in a stack, and the more you put together, the prettier they look, really. So let's try a wider one now. Just going to put a little dab on the inside. Oh, come on. That will forever be called a Claire peg in my head now. Now I could layer this up now and use different twisting a different colour, like, you know, the orange might look nice with the blue. I want to make one stack that all looks nice together for the purposes of this video, so I kind of feel like, yeah, what about that? Some of that in with it. Can't quite decide. Never mind. One thing at a time. So I could even, these beads have got such huge holes, this will even go through, so I might use that as a way, as a dangler afterwards, perhaps. Well stuck. So what I'm going to do is, I think, is go back over that starting point just to kind of secure it all a bit more. Whip my way around here. Right, so I'm coming near to the point where I'm going to need a new piece now. I'm going to put a little dab of glue on the inside again. I'm adding the new piece there on the outside, wrapping the old piece around, gluing that on the inside, and now I'm going to carry on wrapping. Yeah, that works. You could, if you wanted to get into stitching, what would be lovely is to run some little stitches, even just straight stitches along here, or you could do a bit of shisha work, or yeah, you could do all sorts on there. So that's the base of my next one. Then we're going to wrap stuff around it. So I could wrap another fabric around it, dangling some of my got to think of them in the stack as well. Yeah, that could be fun too. It really is, there is just so much possibility here that I can't decide. Now this time I'm thinking, if I didn't take the knot off the end of here, if I instead threaded one of these beads on, say, it's quite a nice little end, isn't it? Just trim it a little bit, and then that could be wrapped around like this. Let's try that, shall we? I think once I'm done with it, I will just leave it pegged to one side to fully dry, just to make sure that all stays. You wouldn't want it coming unravelled while you're trying to wear it. I would say, if you are happy to stitch, probably doing a couple of anchoring stitches as well would be a good idea. Right, I'm going to wrap again, and this time I'm going to aim to probably put this, I need to decide if I want more of the pink or the blue showing. I'm remembering that I want it all to look nice together. Probably doesn't matter too much really. It sometimes goes over the pink and sometimes goes over the blue. I think that's probably okay. This time it'll go over the blue. You could also hot glue, but I just think that could end up leaving some kind of scratchy lumpy bits, which would annoy you when you're wearing it. Yeah. Little bulldog clip, that'll do. Right, and that generous ½ metre was too much, so now I've got to decide, do I want to use these? Yeah, I think I probably do. I think it'll be thread now. Yeah, I would say if you're happy to stitch, I would have this on a needle and probably just take a stitch every so often, just take a stitch to anchor it all and keep it secure. I think that would probably work quite well. Just wondering whether it would be better to just have a string of 3 beads all at once like that instead. Right, okay, I'm going to carry on fiddling around with this until I'm happy with it, and I'll come back and show you when it's done. It'll be more of the same. In the end, I just went for having them all like in a cluster together like that. I thought that just looked more, I don't know, casual or something. So that's 2 in my stack. Now I think I'm going to do a couple of skinny ones with combinations of, I love this deep blue colour sari silk ribbon. I've still got that little strip that I tore off the cotton just now. Those look nice together. I'll do a mixture of them with some of the lovely, I mean, like they would go really nicely with that recycled silk. So I'm going to do a couple of ones like that. Another combination I like is this with, no, which one was it I did it with? Hang on, this one with, oh no, I liked this one with the blue. That's right, I like those together. And I liked this, either this one or the orangey one with those. So I'm going to finish off, oops, the rest of the skinny bangles like that. I might save one just to do one to go with my denim set. And then for the, when I'm doing these, I've dug out these bells that were one of my freebie doodads. I got my arty farty Annie treats I got with my last order, and I'll untwist that. Well, I'll reuse this wire as well. But you can see that these little bells, the loops on them are plenty big enough for this to go through, so I'll thread some of them onto those bangles as well. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do a similar idea with some of the denim, and I've still got at least 2 more ideas that I want to try. I'm starting to think this video is going to get too long and I might have to come back and do them another day, so I'll do the wrapped ones in this video and then I'll come back. I'll probably carry on and have one mammoth bracelet making session today, but I will split the videos and you'll get the second video another time. So right now I'm going to go through and finish up these wrapped ones. Right, just wanted to show you how I'm going to start this one off. So I've got one of my lengths of sari ribbon, and I've decided I'm kind of wasting it a bit because it's quite wide, so I'm going to tear it in half down the middle first, and then to start my wrapping off, I'm just going to cut a little slit there. Whoop, tear it down a little way, didn't mean to do it as much as that actually. And then I'm just going to tie those 2 ends together around the bracelet with a little knot. Let's put a dab of glue just inside that knot before I tie it. That will dry clear so it won't matter. There we go. And I'll leave, now I've got, it's a good idea actually, sometimes these things happen by accident. I'm going to leave those long, and then when I'm done I can thread a couple of beads on the end and knot them. I might even be able to use up one of my skulls on this one because I really want to get some skulls in there, all these little sweetie ones. I want this to be leery looking. So now I'm just going to start wrapping. I'm not even gluing that onto the bracelet, I don't think I need to. And then when I come to start a new piece, I can just knot the end of this one off and I'll end up with knots around the bracelet, which is fine. Be a nice little contrast, have a bit of something different colour in there. It occurs to me that actually if you did these on smaller rings, they'd make very cute little napkin rings for a party table, wouldn't they? My kind of Christmas table. well, I've made a lovely mess and I've had a lovely time. And here's the fruits of my labours so far. So these really are just the kind of wrapped bangles. So that's my boho no-sew bangles. Next time it will be the boho slow-sew dangles. And then I'll come back and do some more of these. I'll do the other ideas another time. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I will see you again really soon.